Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about ecosystem. So what is ecosystem? Ecosystem is combination of a biotic community and its abiotic factors, abiotic environment. Okay. So what was biotic community? Biotic community forms. It is formed by organisms of all the population or species that live in a defined area or a defined habitat. Okay. For example, if there is pond, so all the producers, all the plants, and all the consumers, that means all the organisms, animals of that pond, they will comprise the biotic community. That means in any particular habitat, किसी एक जगह पर जितने भी लिविंग एनिमल्स प्रेजेंट हैं, ठीक है, वेदर जितने भी लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स प्रेजेंट है, वेदर दोज आर प्लांट्स और एनिमल्स, दे विल फॉर्म द बायोटिक कम्युनिटी. दैट मीन्स एनी लिविंग एंटिटी of any particular habitat, that will form the biotic community and its surrounding environment, abiotic factors, जो नॉन लिविंग फैक्टर होंगे उस पर्टिकुलर हैबिटेट के, तो उनको मिलाकर क्या बनता है? इकोसिस्टम या फिर इकोलॉजिकल सिस्टम. So, ecosystem is a natural, functional, ecological unit which comprises living organism and their non-living environment. Okay, and these both factors, living organisms and their non-living environment, they will interact to form a stable and self-supporting system. Okay. Now, the term ecosystem, it was coined by A.G. Tansley in 1935. A.G. Tansley ने ये term दी थी in 1935. Now, also the relationship between a community and the non-living environment, it is always a mutual one. That is, not only does the environment affect the community, but the community also modifies the environment. Now here you can see, here is a mutual reaction and relationship has been shown, that one population, it will be affected by environment, its surrounding environment, and in turn this population, it will affect the environment, and this population, it will affect another population, and this another population, it will affect the previous population. So that is a mutual relationship. Okay, we'll discuss about this in detail. And this second population, it will also affect environment in its own terms and conditions, and environment will also affect this population. Like imagine there is a, if you imagine a forest scene, so environment counts rainfall, humidity, and soil, adaptive factors. Okay, all these things, they combine together to form environment. Okay, and the organisms are plants. Forest में जितने भी plants होंगे, they suppose they form one population, and another population are birds. So how this surrounding environment, this affects plants? If there is proper nutrient in the soil, the plants will grow higher and taller, and there will be a, that will be in good growth. So this is how environment affect. If there is proper sunlight, proper humidity, so these are environmental factor. Okay, so they will affect the plant growth. Plants are one population. In turn, these plants will affect the environment. जितने ज़्यादा अच्छे plants होंगे, जितने ज़्यादा healthy robust होंगे, जितने ज़्यादा height पर होंगे, they will utilize sunlight, and they will prepare organic food, and they will release oxygen. Okay, so they will in turn, they will affect the environment. Okay, so this plant population, it will affect another population. Suppose that is bird population, which is living on the plants or trees. Okay, so that is the second population. It will be affected by plants, that is one population. Okay, तो एक पॉपुलेशन जो है वो दूसरी पॉपुलेशन को, वो कौन सी है? बर्ड्स की पॉपुलेशन, तो वो उसे अफेक्ट कर रही है. कैसे? दैट इज प्रोवाइडिंग द नेस्टिंग साइट्स फॉर द एनिमल्स, फॉर द बर्ड्स, एंड बर्ड्स आर ऑल्सो गेटिंग फूड फ्रॉम द प्लांट्स. ओके, स्पेशली फ्रूजीवोरस जो बर्ड्स हैं. ओके, इन टर्न जो जो बर्ड्स हैं, वो कैसे प्लांट्स को अफेक्ट कर रहे हैं? इन टर्न they will cause the dispersal of the tree or plant by dispersing the seeds or fruits from one place to other. And how these are affecting the environment? अब जो environment है, वो birds को कैसे affect कर रहा है? If there is higher temperature, that is affecting the birds adversely, and that will make them to, that will allow, that will force the birds for migration from one place to other, bird migration. Okay, so that is affected by environment, and in turn the birds, they will also affect the environment. Okay, they will add abiotic factors into that environment, into the soil, adaphic factors, their excreta, that will enrich the soil with inorganic material. So this is how these different population, they will affect each other and their surrounding environment. Also, there is a scientist Clement. In 1936, he described that whenever environment pose any effect on organism, that is termed as action. जब भी ऑर्गेनिज्म के ऊपर एनवायरनमेंट का कोई इफेक्ट होगा उसको बोलते हैं एक्शन. दैट मीन्स एक्शन ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट ऑन ऑर्गेनिज्म, एंड वेन एवर ऑर्गेनिज्म विल अफेक्ट इट्स एनवायरनमेंट, इट विल बी टर्म्ड एज रिएक्शन. ठीक है. एंड वेन ऑर्गेनिज्म विल अफेक्ट अनदर ऑर्गेनिज्म, इट विल बी टर्म्ड एज कोएक्शन. उसको बोलेंगे कोएक्शन. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द टर्म. Now, further, an ecosystem is not in completely isolated unit. एक completely isolated unit नहीं होती as it is often held, जैसा कि अक्सर समझा जाता है. Instead, materials move from one ecosystem to other. Okay. For example, that means these are not so much independent. They appear to be so, but these are not independent. Materials move from one ecosystem to other, just like leaves can be blown from forest to lake. Okay, if there is a lake nearby a forest, then leaves from forest, they can be easily blown to the lake. So one material from one ecosystem has been transported to other. So here are some of the example of the ecosystem which has been shown here. Like one is pond, other is lake ecosystem. Now what is the difference between pond and lake? You must be aware of that ponds are shallow and they have photic zone only. That means they will not be that much deep that sun rays cannot penetrate up to the benthic zone. नीचे तक सन रेज ना पहुंच पाए, इतने ज्यादा डीप नहीं होते हैं पॉन्ड. तो इनमें बिल्कुल बॉटम तक लाइट जाती है, फोटिक जोन होती है बॉटम तक. तो पॉन्ड जो है वो शैलो वाटर बॉडीज होती हैं. एंड द लेक्स, they are deep. These are larger water bodies and they are deep and they have a photic zone. That means at the benthic zone, जो नीचे होती है लेक के फ्लोर पर जो जोन होगी, दैट विल बी अफोटिक. देर दैट विल बी डार्क जोन जहाँ पर सनलाइट जो है वो नहीं पहुंचती. सो देर विल बी नो प्रोड्यूसर एट द बेस. सो दैट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन पॉन्ड एंड लेक. Then another ecosystem can be meadow. Here you can see that is a meadow. Now, what is a meadow? Meadow is a field which is specifically cultivated for grasses and that can have wildflowers all over the grasses, and these are generally used for cattle feeding. Okay, so these are meadows. And then deserts, and then forests and fields and grasslands and hillsides. So these are some of the examples of the ecosystem. Okay, so these are ecosystem, independent, basically independent entity having its own abiotic and biotic components or factors. Now ecosystem can be divided into two main portions. Now let me tell you one more thing. Let me little bit explain the previous slide more. Okay, ecosystems, these can be all these types I have told you about, that forest, field, grassland and hillside. If you talk about the water ecosystem, water based ecosystem, these can be of two type. Okay, freshwater ecosystems which are with running water. Okay, जिनमें रनिंग वाटर होगा, जैसे कि स्ट्रीम्स होंगी, रिवर्स होंगी. these are termed as lotic ecosystems. LOTIC, lotic ecosystems. While द वंस विद द स्टैंडिंग वाटर लाइक पोन्स एंड लेक, जो कि यहाँ पर मैंने शो किया है, जो पोन्स और लेक है उनके अंदर स्टैंडिंग वाटर होता है, तो उनको बोलता है लैंटिक, लैंटिक इकोसिस्टम्स. और जो टेरेस्ट्रियल इकोसिस्टम्स हैं, दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट द एक्वेटिक इकोसिस्टम्स. अब फ्रेश वाटर हो सकती है पोन्स एंड रिवर्स, और दूसरा होता है मरीन इकोसिस्टम विच इज सी एंड एस्चुरीज एंड ओशियंस. ओके, सो फ्रेश वाटर में दो टाइप जो मैंने आपको बताई, लोटिक एंड लैंटिक. लोटिक जिसके अंदर फ्लोइंग वाटर होता है और लैंटिक जिसके अंदर स्टेगनेंट वाटर होता है. उसके बाद जो टेरेस्ट्रियल इकोसिस्टम्स होते हैं वो बेसिकली 6 टाइप्स के होते हैं, विच आई हैव आल्सो शोन हियर. दैट कैन बी ग्रासलैंड इकोसिस्टम, एज यू कैन सी हियर. दिस इज अ ग्रासलैंड इकोसिस्टम, and that means which covers about approximately 20% of the land surface and is dominated by grasses. Then can be savanna ecosystem, that means grassland with a few trees, जिसमें कुछ पेड़ भी होते हैं बीच में. टैगा इकोसिस्टम, जो कि सब अल्पाइन इकोसिस्टम होता है विद ह्यूमस एंड पीट ऑन द ग्राउंड. ह्यूमस एंड पीट आर डिकेइंग कंपोनेंट्स, मतलब नीचे जो है डिकेइंग कंपोनेंट होते हैं ग्राउंड पे. और सब अल्पाइन इकोसिस्टम मतलब ये लास्ट ट्री लाइन होती है, इसके ऊपर जो है इसके ऊपर जो है एक भी ट्री प्रेजेंट नहीं होता, एल्पाइन जोन आ जाती है. देन इज टुंड्रा इकोसिस्टम, ये अल्पाइन जोन में होती है. इट इज डोमिनेटेड ओनली बाय लाइकन्स, mosses and herbs and low shrubs. There are no tree in alpine zone, that means tundra ecosystem. और दूसरा हो सकता है डेजर्ट इकोसिस्टम विद दीज आर ड्राई जोन. यू कैन सी हियर दिस इज अ desert, and these are dry zones with a little rainfall. And forest ecosystem which include tropical or temperate forest. Here you can see, so that is a forest. तो ट्रॉपिकल फॉरेस्ट भी हो सकते हैं और टेम्परेट फॉरेस्ट भी हो सकते हैं. ट्रॉपिकल फॉरेस्ट आर ईदर डेसिडियस और एवरग्रीन. डेसिडियस मतलब जिनके पत्ते गिर जाते हैं ड्यूरिंग ऑटम, और एवरग्रीन जो कि हमेशा ग्रीन रहते हैं. जबकि टेम्परेट फॉरेस्ट जो होंगे, टेम्परेट जोन में जो होंगे, दैट विल ऑलवेज बी डेसिडियस. जनरली डेसिडियस होते हैं कि ऑटम में उनके जो लीव्स हैं वो शेड हो जाते हैं. ऑल्सो इकोसिस्टम में बी स्मॉल और इट मे बी लार्ज. स्मॉल इतना स्मॉल हो सकता है कि इफ देयर इज अ प्लांट पॉट विच इज इन योर गार्डन, दैट इज अगेन एन इकोसिस्टम. वो भी एक इकोसिस्टम है. अब वो पॉट कितना भी छोटा हो सकता है, बट स्टिल दैट इज अ इकोसिस्टम having a complete unit. Okay, और इट कैन बी एज लार्ज एज ओशियन. ओशियन के जितना बड़ा भी हो सकता है, या फिर फॉरेस्ट जितना बड़ा हो सकता है. Ocean is the largest ecosystem. And different type of ecosystems, these are simply separated from each other in relation to time and space, but functionally these are linked together. As I have already discussed you that leaves from forest can be blown to the pond, so these are practically connected and there is no functional boundaries between two different ecosystems. Okay, so moving forward, ecosystem can be uh, divided into two main types: artificial and natural ecosystem. Now, what do you mean by artificial and natural ecosystem? Artificial ecosystem, that is man-made ecosystem, which is made by man, like a spaceship, aquarium, and plant pots. So these are man-made ecosystems. And what are natural ecosystem? These are operating under natural conditions, and these are without any major interference by human being. As we have seen in the previous slide, those were all natural ecosystem, whether that are ocean ecosystem or pond or lake ecosystem or or taiga ecosystem or tundra or desert or forest. So these were all natural ecosystems. Also we can divide ecosystems into temporary and permanent ecosystem. And what are these temporary and permanent? Temporary, which is temporary and can be diminished very soon, which can diminish very soon, like rain fed pond. मतलब कि वो pond जिसके अंदर सिर्फ rain के time पर water होगा, otherwise that will be dry. So that will be functional only for the temporary time, like laboratory culture of protozoans. If you are growing some protozoan or bacteria in your lab, so that will be a temporary culture, and that will comprise a whole ecosystem of those protozoa in the petri plate, in the culture plate. So that will be a temporary ecosystem. Permanent ecosystem which will always last forever, that will be permanent, like pond, lake, desert and grassland. Majority of the natural ecosystems are permanent as well, and artificial ecosystems are temporary ecosystem. Generally, if they will not be maintained by human, they will be diminished soon. So next are what are the organization or components of the ecosystem. Now ecosystem, it has been divided into two main components by Odum in 1971. One is biotic component and the other one is abiotic component. Abiotic component that include inorganic and organic substances and edaphic factors. We have discussed about this in detail in our earlier lectures. Climatic factors include these abiotic factors like temperature, wind, light, humidity, rain, and water. And edaphic factors, they include soil and substratum, and topography, background, minerals, and pH, etc. So we have already discussed those in detail. Talking about abiotic components of the ecosystem, now, these can be further divided into three main types. One is autotrophic components, which are also termed as producers. Then, second is heterotrophic components, which are termed as consumers. And the third ones are reducers or decomposers. So, we'll talk about these one by one. So, first of all, we'll talk about producers. What are producers? Producers are generally, these are living organisms which very first they these are also termed as autotrophic components. Producers are also termed as autotrophs. So auto means self, trophos means feeder. That means they include generally green plants and photosynthetic bacteria and cyanobacteria, and these are capable of manufacturing their own organic food from simple inorganic substances by utilizing solar energy, okay, by the process of photosynthesis generally. Now the producers, these can be divided into two subtypes. One is photosynthetic autotrophs and the second one is chemosynthetic autotrophs. Now what is the difference between these two? Photosynthetic autotrophs, they will uh, make their own organic food with the help of sunlight by doing the photosynthetic reaction, which you all are very much aware of. That is 6CO2 6H2O, by utilizing carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and utilizing chlorophyll of the plant. Plants will perform photosynthesis and they will synthesize glucose, that is the organic molecule, and will release oxygen. So that is the photosynthetic reaction, with the help of which all the plants, green plants, and some bacteria, specifically green and purple bacteria and cyanobacteria, that means blue green algae, they will do photosynthesis and they will produce complex substances from the simple inorganic substances like CO2 and water, utilizing solar energy. So that such kind of organisms are termed as photosynthetic autotrophs, simply which will do photosynthesis. Then the second category is chemoautotrophs. Some bacteria, they got energy from inorganic chemical reactions. They oxidize inorganic substances like ammonia and hydrogen sulfide, and they will get energy from these inorganic chemical reactions, and they will oxidize these inorganic substances, ammonia and hydrogen sulfide, and the energy they will derive from such oxidation, that will be transformed into biologically useful energy, ATP. And this energy, ATP, is used to synthesize the organic materials which will be necessary for life. So that is chemosynthetic autotrophs, okay. So they will they will not utilize solar energy in their reaction, but they will synthesize their own food by utilizing inorganic substances in the absence of sunlight. So that will be chemosynthetic autotrophs. Now, what is the importance of producers? Producers, these are primary bases of life. They will provide food, shelter, and oxygen to other organisms. And these are the only organisms which can derive energy from non-living. That means they can utilize abiotic factors so well that they can synthesize their own food. They can derive energy from the non-living. So these are the only organisms, producers. Then next we'll talk about consumers, which are also termed as macro consumers or phagotrophs, because these are unable to synthesize their food and they take other organisms as food. And basically these are categorized into four main categories. First is primary consumers, or you can say first order consumers, which are also termed as herbivores. Second, secondary consumers or second order consumers, which are termed as carnivores. Tertiary consumers or third order consumers, which are large carnivores. And then quaternary consumers or fourth order consumers, which are termed as top carnivores. So we'll talk about these now. Primary consumers or herbivores, these are the organisms which will eat plant or plant parts. Either they will eat the whole plant, or they will be dependent upon some plant portion like leaves only. These are also termed as key industry animals. Why? This was the term used by Elton, and he has called them key industry animals because these primary consumers, they convert plant material into animal material. That's why these are termed as key industry animals. Like this rabbit, it has been shown here, it will eat the grass. So it is herbivore or primary consumer. It is dependent on plants for its food. Then secondary consumer or carnivore, these will eat herbivores. That means, for example, here this fox has been shown. This fox, it will feed upon rabbit, that means herbivore. And then is the third order that is tertiary consumers or large carnivores, which are third order consumer, and they will eat the uh, herbivore. Okay, so these will eat these will eat the carnivore, like that is a wolf. Okay, and this wolf, it will eat the fox. तो ये जो फर्स्ट ऑर्डर कार्नि जो सेकंड कंज्यूमर था, जो कार्निवोर था, ये उसके ऊपर फीड करता है, सो दैट इज लार्ज कार्निवोर. Then the quaternary consumer or top carnivore, and the fourth order consumer, that is largest carnivore, and that will eat the tertiary consumers. Okay, so lion, it will feed upon the wolf. ये wolf के ऊपर feed करेगा. So this is how the consumers, they depend on each other, and each such level is termed as a trophic level in a food chain. We'll discuss that in detail later on. So that was all about consumers. And now here is a relationship among the members of an ecosystem. यहाँ पर एक relationship जो है वो show किया गया है. Here you can see, first of all, here are producers. They will synthesize their own food, organic food, utilizing sun energy, solar energy, and utilizing CO2 from the environment and water. Okay, so they can also fix the nitrogen by having root nodules and nitrogen fixing bacteria in that. Finally, these plants will be eaten up by the herbivore, that is rabbit. Here it is shown as a primary consumer. Okay, and then rabbit will be eaten up by secondary consumer, that is a cat. And finally, this secondary consumer, carnivore, it will be eaten up by the tertiary consumer, that is a wolf. Wolf can be further eaten by quaternary consumer, that will be lion. Okay, so this is how the organisms, these are interdependent on each other. Finally, these dark arrows which are going down in the earth, these are representing death of the organism. So after death of the plant, these will be decomposed by decomposers which are present in the soil, and these decomposers are bacteria and fungus, and they will liberate the organic matter and inorganic substances from the bodies of either plants. And this arrow, it represents the death of the herbivore, and the same will be with the body of herbivore, it will be decomposed by decomposers. And the secondary consumer, it is again dead. After its death, its body will be acted upon by decomposers. And finally, same fate will be of tertiary consumer. So finally, all of these organisms, whether these are plants or carnivores or herbivores, after death, these will be, their body will be decomposed by bacteria and fungus. And finally, these bacteria and fungus decomposers, they will release the organic matter and inorganic substances which were locked in the bodies of these organisms. So organic compounds will be used by decomposers itself, and the inorganic material that will be circulated back into the environment, CO2 will be released, and the inorganic material that will be taken up by the plants from the soil. So this is how the matter circulate in a food chain in a ecosystem. Then next we'll talk about decomposers. That is the third pillar of the ecosystem that we were talking about, the components of the ecosystem, remember. Okay, so in biotic components, there were three main components: producers, consumers, and decomposers. So that is the third pillar, decomposers, which are also termed as micro consumers or reducers or saprotrophs. So mainly these are bacteria and fungus, as we have seen in the last picture. These obtain food from organic material of the dead producers and consume and consumers. जो भी producers और consumers की dead body होगी, उनसे organic material जो है ये release करेंगे और उसको as a food use करेंगे. And also from their metabolic waste, जो भी उनका fecal matter होगा, उसको भी ये use करेंगे as a food. They will extract nutrient and energy from these dead bodies से, और जो waste material होगा, metabolic waste, वहाँ से ये nutrient और energy जो है release करेंगे for themselves. So they decompose dead organisms into organic matter. So that will be used by decomposers, and inorganic materials which will be released into environment for reuse as raw material by producers. So there is a cyclic exchange of matter between a biotic environment and biotic community, as we have seen in the last slide, in that cycle which I have shown you recently. But energy is not cycled. एनर्जी जो है वो साइकिल नहीं होगी, but continuously lost from the ecosystem. Energy जो है वो lose होगी, because energy that will always travel in a single direction and that will not be circulated, and every step at every trophic level majority of the energy that will be liberated as heat. Okay, so very less energy will transfer from one trophic level to the next, and it will always move in a single direction and it will not be cycled. So most of the organism would die if sun's energy is cut off for some time. अगर जो sun की energy है वो कुछ time के लिए cut off कर दी जाए, suppose for a month, whole of the sun's energy from the earth has been cut off, then एक महीने के अंदर ही earth जो है वो खत्म हो सकती है, because the main source of energy is sun. ओके अगर उसी की सप्लाई बंद हो गई तो जो एनर्जी की इनपुट है अर्थ के अंदर वो खत्म हो जाएगी, और उसके खत्म होते ही जो प्लांट है वो फोटोसिंथेसिस नहीं कर पाएंगे, एंड एवरीथिंग इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन दैट प्रोड्यूसर्स. Okay, so it will be life will come to an halt. So decomposers, these are also termed as saprotrophs, and saprotrophs is a word which is combination of saprose plus trophs. Saprose means rotten and troughs means feeder. That means rotten feeder, the organisms which will feed on the rotten bodies. So that will be termed as saprotrophs or decomposers. Now producers are also termed as autotrophs, and heterotrophs are consumers and reducer. Both of these will be termed as heterotrophs as they cannot synthesize their own food and these are dependent on other organisms, autotrophs, for their food supply. So next, here is a picture which is showing the um, structure and function of the ecosystem. Now it is showing the flow of energy and material within a ecosystem. Now see here, okay, the line which has been shown in a wavy pattern, here you can see this wavy line coming from sun, that is representing energy flow. Okay, जो भी wavy lines हैं like this and this and this and this, these are representing flow of energy, and the solid lines, these are representing flow of material. Okay, so first let us follow the energy. It is, first of all, it is gained from sun, ultimate source of energy. It will be trapped by producers, that means plant, green plant, cyanobacteria and some bacteria. Okay, purple and green. So they will then transmit this energy to the herbivores through food chain. हर्बीवोर जो है वो प्लांट्स के ऊपर फीड करेंगे तो एनर्जी जो है उनके अंदर आ जाएगी, एनर्जी के साथ क्या आएगा, मटीरियल. नाउ रिमेंबर दिस मटीरियल एरो, दैट मीन्स जो ऑर्गेनिक मैटर है दैट हैज बीन सिंथेसाइज्ड बाय प्रोड्यूसर्स ओनली. सो दिस एरो that starts from here as producers, they are themselves producing this material, organic matter. So it will be transferred again to herbivore through food, and but whole of material will not be transferred, and also whole of energy will not be transferred. Some of the energy that will be lost as heat from producers in the way of transfer to herbivore, and some after the death of the producers, some, here you can see this arrow, solid as well as this wavy, some of the material and energy that will be transferred to decomposers on the death of producers. जब producers की death होगी, they will be in soil, their body will be acted upon by decomposers, bacteria and fungus, and they will utilize some of the material and energy from the producers. And now come to the herbivore. Now these herbivore that will be eaten up by the carnivores, so energy will be transferred to carnivores along with the material. Okay, so matter and energy both has been transferred to carnivore. Also some of the energy will be liberated as heat, and if the herbivore organism is dead, then again in soil it will be decomposed by decomposer, which will get some of the material and energy from herbivore. As you can see, both the arrows are here. Similarly, upon death of the carnivore, they will again be, their body again will be acted upon by decomposers, and decomposers will in turn get the material and energy. Now come here up to the decomposer. Now decomposer, irrespective of the source, whether these are getting their material and energy from producers or herbivores or carnivores, these will always transmit material to the next level. Okay, so they will release the inorganic material, minerals, into the nutrient pool, but there is no energy released, because that will be the fifth level of the trophic system, trophic level fifth, and after that there will be no considerable energy left to transfer to the next level. So only material will be cycled back. So it will complete the cycle of the material. So here you can see this outer cycle that is representing biogeochemical cycles, that means mineral cycles which are revolving in circle. That means minerals are circulating again and again. That means inorganic material that is circulating again and again, but energy is only unidirectional. Energy जो है वो एक ही डायरेक्शन में फ्लो कर रही है. See these wavy arrows. Okay, so biogeochemical cycles, on one end it is showing input of the material and on another end it is showing output of the material. So this is how matter and energy, minerals and energy flow in an ecosystem. Now decomposers are very much essential for an ecosystem. Why? बिकॉज नो इकोसिस्टम कुड फंक्शन विदाउट डिकम्पोजर्स. अगर डिकम्पोजर्स नहीं होंगे तो कोई भी इकोसिस्टम जो है वो लॉन्ग रन तक फंक्शन नहीं कर पाएगा. वाई? बिकॉज डेड ऑर्गेनिज्म एंड देयर वेस्ट वुड पाइल अप विदाउट डिकम्पोजिंग. अगर डिकम्पोजर्स नहीं होंगे तो हु विल डिकम्पोज द डेड बॉडीज ऑफ द ऑर्गेनिज्म एंड देयर वेस्ट? सो दे विल लाई एज इट इज ऑन द अर्थ, and then essential element will go out of the stock because they will be locked into the corpse. जो डेड बॉडी है उनके अंदर असेंशियल मटेरियल जो है वो लॉक हो जाएंगे क्योंकि डिकम्पोजर्स नहीं होंगे. सो हु विल अनलॉक दैट? ओके, सो असेंशियल एलिमेंट जो है वो खत्म हो जाएंगे बिकॉज दैट आर रिक्वायर्ड इन अ सर्कल. वो हमेशा सर्कुलेशन में होने चाहिए बिकॉज मटेरियल कैन नीदर बी क्रिएटेड नॉट बी डिस्ट्रॉयड. सो ऑलरेडी जो अवेलेबल है अर्थ के ऊपर एक फिक्स्ड मटेरियल है दैट शुड बी यूटिलाइज्ड अगेन एंड अगेन. सो रिसोर्सेज आर सेम, so these must be utilized again and again. So if they will get locked into corpse, then they will go out of the stock and then all life will come to an end. सारी लाइफ जो है एक एंड पर आ जाएगी, खत्म हो जाएगी क्योंकि मटेरियल नहीं होगा. So there will be no new production. Moreover, space wouldn't be clear for new producers to grow as there will be dead bodies and waste material piled upon every corner of the earth or every space, possible space. So there will be no clear space for new producers to grow. कोई भी नए प्रोड्यूसर ग्रो नहीं हो पाएंगे क्योंकि कहीं पर भी जगह नहीं होगी, हर जगह डेड बॉडीज पड़ी होंगी. तो जगह ही नहीं होगी तो कैसे ग्रो करेंगे? रिड्यूसर्स ब्रेक डाउन डेड ऑर्गेनिज्म. जो डिकम्पोजर्स हैं, जो रिड्यूसर्स हैं, दे ऑलवेज ब्रेक डाउन डेड ऑर्गेनिज्म. सो दे सॉल्व all the above mentioned problems. That means number one, they will make room for new producers, okay, by decomposing the dead bodies, and they will release molecules and atoms, that means minerals, for reuse by the producers. So reducers are very much important for the ecosystem for materials, not for energy. They will recycle the material but not energy. Okay, so that's why decomposers are essential. Consumers are not at all essential because consumers, they only beautify the ecosystem. उनका सिर्फ एक ही काम होता है, दे विल एड ब्यूटी एंड डाइवर्सिटी टू द इकोसिस्टम. Producers and decomposers are very much essential component of an ecosystem. Ecosystem can function very well with autotrophs, that means producers, because these are the one who will capture the outside energy and they can turn abiotic factors into organic matter, and they can synthesize material. And second factor is decomposers, which will break down the dead autotrophs to recycle their inorganic material. So both of these autotrophs and decomposers, they can practically run the cycle of ecosystem very well, and there is no need for consumers. They can maintain the balance. Autotrophs जो है वो food बनाएंगे, organic matter synthesize करेंगे, and finally after death of autotrophs, they will be their bodies will be acted upon by decomposers, and they will release the locked material which was locked inside the bodies of the plants to the environment again, and that will recycle again up to the plants. So this is how ecosystem can function very well without consumers. And here is example of a specific ecosystem. So here is a ecosystem which is shown here, that is a small freshwater pond ecosystem which comprises of again abiotic component and biotic component. Abiotic component, here you can see abiotic components which are shown here in this column, that comprises air, water and minerals in water and soil and organic debris. So water is with dissolved gases and minerals and suspended organic matter, and soil at the bottom is with minerals and organic debris, and air which is above the surface of the water, that is having oxygen and CO2, and sunlight. These all comprise the abiotic factors, and they will provide the raw material for the producers to synthesize food. Then next we'll talk about the biotic components. Biotic components, they include all the plant, animals, and microorganisms of the pond. And let us start first with the producers. So here are the producers. Now, producer in the case of this freshwater pond, that are plants, okay, which are growing at the bank of the pond. Here you can see, which are rooted in the soil. तो जो बैंक पर किनारे पर जो plants होंगे, that will act as producers. Also the phytoplanktons like algae, diatoms, and desmids. These are microscopic planktons which are capable of photosynthesis. So these are termed as phytoplanktons, and these will be present in a surface water, and they will do photosynthesis. So basically, these comprise the producers. Okay, rooted plants and these phytoplanktons. ये जो हैं producers का काम करेंगे. And then come to the consumers. Now consumers here are shown: primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Primary consumers are paramecium and water flea. And basically, zooplanktons like water fleas, these are free swimming animals, and these are swimming because of the water currents. Okay, so these are termed as zooplanktons. Now, zooplankton and phytoplankton, they combine together to form planktons. Okay, so phytoplanktons that will be eaten up by zooplanktons like water fleas and paramecium. Okay, and then these zooplanktons, which are primary consumers, as these are feeding upon the producers. Okay, so these primary consumers, these will be fed upon by the secondary consumers, which are small fishes, you can see here, and water beetle. Okay, so they will feed upon these primary consumers, that are paramecium and water flea. इनके ऊपर ये fish और water beetle feed करेंगे. Then come to the tertiary consumers. These are these are also carnivores, and they will feed upon the secondary consumers. Okay, so water beetle और small fishes के ऊपर कौन feed करेगा? Tertiary consumers, and these will be large fishes, बड़ी fishes, and crayfishes. Okay, these are crustaceans, decapods जो होते हैं, झींगा बोलते हैं इसको. And so these will be tertiary consumers. And finally, there are decomposers, which are also termed as reducers. They will act upon the dead bodies of the producers and consumers, when they will sink to the bottom after death, and they will uh, reduce them, they will decompose them, and will release organic matter. So these will be broken down by the bacteria and fungus, which are decomposers at the base benthic zone of the pond. So this include bacteria and fungus of decay. So they will liberate the organic substances which will be used by these bacteria and fungus, and inorganic substances that will be again available for the producers in the plant. So there is a cyclic exchange of material between the living communities and abiotic environment of the pond. So this is very much essential feature of an ecosystem, that it should be a self-sustainable unit. Okay, so this is how matter circulate in the ecosystem, from producers to decomposers and decomposers to back producers. Then there is a type of ecosystem which is termed as incomplete ecosystem. Now this term incomplete ecosystem, that was given by Southwick in 1976. What is incomplete ecosystem? There are certain ecosystems that do not consist of all the basic components and lack one or more of them. That means जो basic component है which are required for an ecosystem, वो लैकिंग होते हैं, तो उनको इनकम्प्लीट इकोसिस्टम बोलते हैं. जैसे कि producers and decomposers are must for any ecosystem. So if there is any ecosystem which is lacking producers, that will be incomplete ecosystem. Like deep sea is an best example of incomplete ecosystem. Deep sea ecosystem is incomplete ecosystem because it lacks producers ड्यू टू एब्सेंस ऑफ लाइट इन द बेंथिक जोन. नीचे अफॉटिक जोन होती है, तो उससे नीचे लाइट नहीं होती, तो इसकी वजह से क्या होगा, प्रोड्यूसर्स नहीं होंगे. एंड दीज डीप सीज दे ओनली हैव कंज्यूमर्स एंड डिकम्पोजर्स. तो नीचे सिर्फ कंज्यूमर और डिकम्पोजर्स होंगे. तो फूड फॉर कंज्यूमर्स वो कहाँ से आएगा? दैट विल सिंक फ्रॉम द अपर स्ट्रेटा. जो फॉटिक जोन है, यानी कि सरफेस जोन जो है, वहां से फूड जो है वो सिंक होगा. And that food consists of partially decomposed remains of protozoans, diatoms, mollusks. मतलब कोई भी dead organism, whenever then any organism will be dead on the surface, that will sink to the bottom. Okay, and that is termed as ooze. मतलब जो भी डेड बॉडी ऊपर से नीचे सिंक हो रही है किसी भी ऑर्गेनिज्म की, दैट इज टर्म्ड एज ooze. So that ooze will form the food of the lower deep sea organisms. So that ooze, because of the refrigerating temperature in the sea base, बेस पर क्योंकि टेम्परेचर बहुत कम होता है डीप सी में या फोटिक जोन में, तो वहां पर जो डेड बॉडीज हैं, जो ऊज है, दैट विल गॉट रेफ्रिजरेटेड, वो फ्रीज हो जाएगी, विच विल रिटेन द फूड वैल्यू फॉर लॉन्गर ड्यूरेशन, जिसकी वजह से अब आप फ्रिज में कोई भी फूड रख देते हो तो काफी टाइम तक वो ठीक रहता है, देर विल बी नो डिकम्पोजिशन ऑफ दैट फूड. सो दैट विल बी सेम इन द केस ऑफ डीप सी, नीचे टेम्परेचर बहुत कम होगा, एंड दैट विल रिटेन द फूड वैल्यू फॉर लॉन्गर ड्यूरेशन. So that ooze will be eaten up by small creatures for longer durations, काफी लंबे टाइम तक सेफ रहती हैं और वो खा सकते हैं उसको, ooze को, small creatures, which in turn will be eaten up by the larger ones. और जो स्मॉल क्रिएचर जो उस ooze के ऊपर फीड कर रहे हैं, दैट विल बी फेड अपॉन बाय द लार्जर ऑर्गेनिज्म, जो बड़े ऑर्गेनिज्म हैं, दे विल प्रे अपॉन दैट, और वो जो है उनको खा लेंगे. सो दैट इज हाउ this incomplete ecosystem runs in the deep sea. Okay, though this was all about the ecosystem.